Hey everybody on YouTube, I'm really getting tired of all this hype over Jade helm. And once again, I feel compelled to make another video concerning it. Because everybody is addicted to this fear porn, trying to make these connections that are not there. There's connections there, but it's not the connections that you think. Yes, Jade helm is an exercise going on. Yes, there are other exercises going on in conjunction with them. Yes, the government is conducting exercises through the auspices of FEMA, the FBI, the Department of Justice, and other agencies. The National Guard is training. They always train every summer. But what kills me is everybody automatically jumps to conclusions when they take these little snippets or sound bites or video bites or whatever, and they don't do their research, and they just make a lot of assumptions. Question 1. Do you know the people in your neighborhood? Let's say you're in a little small town and there's a National Guard unit stationed there. They have a drill hall. They conduct training on a regular basis during the weekends. Do you know those people there? 1. 2, do you really know what their training is about? Have you talked to them? And I'm not just saying talk to them in a confrontational way where you automatically want to have an argument with them and accuse them of being, government agents out to get you. I'm talking about, have you really talked to them? Have you really gotten a feel for the heartbeat of those people? What they value? Have you tried to talk to them? Maybe network with them? Exchange points of view. Try to get them to look at things a little differently and not just swallow the propaganda that they're being handed through their training. Have you tried any of that? Have you actually talked to some of these people who are doing things that you suspect is possibly immoral or questionable? Have you done that? If you haven't done that, then you have no business assuming what they're doing or assuming that they're going to carry those orders out. It's very simple. And just because you see what appears to be an increase in troop movements and vehicles and everything else doesn't mean that that's the case. The vast majority of this comes from the fact that people, for the longest time, were either oblivious or quite frankly careless because they don't have situational awareness and they don't pay attention to what's going on around them. Or they just didn't notice it. They went on with their lives and just didn't notice it. But now more people are paying attention. So they assume because they're paying attention and they see it now that it wasn't occurring before. When the truth is it was occurring before, they just didn't notice it or didn't pay attention. And now that they're paying attention, they automatically think there's something nefarious going on, and that's not the case. Now, I will grant this. The government, from the Pentagon down, from the Department of Justice down, from the White House down, has an agenda. They do disseminate that agenda through their training. It's really clear if you look at it all. But things are so compartmentalized that one hand doesn't know what the other is doing. So just because a National Guard training event is going on at the same time as Jade helm does not mean that they are directly linked and that they have communication with each other and that they're coordinated with each other. The problem is the White House, the Department of Justice, and the Pentagon all love to have centralized control, but they only disseminate information to the parties that they feel need it. So they're only giving them part of the story. That's dangerous. But at the same time, they can't control everybody. They can't control somebody. They can't control the National Guardsman who recognizes and sees what's going on and is just going along with the game, the training event, and the scenario that they're being trained in, even though they know it's bullshit. They're just going along to get along so they can be in a position to help the people that really need it, which is the American people. Same thing with the Special Forces. Same thing with some of the police. And granted, some of them are being brainwashed to a degree, but they're waking up too. So not all of them are like rookies who are just going to swallow hook, line, and sinker this propaganda that you got to watch out for an enemy behind every bush. I mean, it seems like that's the pattern. That this fear porn and this psyop that's being run has got all of us different people pitted against each other, worrying that the enemy is behind the bush. You know? When it's just not true. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all designed to make you paranoid. And it's working. I'm sad to say it's working because people just don't see the big picture. They don't understand that if you are confident enough, if you are trained well enough, if you prepare well enough, it doesn't matter if you're civilian, in the military, police officer, whatever. If those things are in line, when shit hits the fan, because it's gonna, you will be in a better position to protect your family and to protect your own interests. And it doesn't have to be in such a way that you go to war with your neighbors. So I ask again, have you talked to your neighbors? Have you talked to your National Guardsmen? Have you talked to your police? Do you know anybody who's currently in the military? Or formerly in the military? Or formerly worked for the government? Do you know? Because quite frankly, in my overall community, we have tons of former military, police officers, people that work in government departments, whether it's something stupid as Department of Transportation. But we have our own vast network because we talk to people. They know something's going to happen. We know something's going to happen. We know that the White House and the Manchurian candidate that's in office right now, Department of Justice, and all the bigwigs up top who are bought and paid for by the elite, we know that they're up to something. We know it ain't good. But it's pointless to start fighting against each other or start fear-mongering, thinking that the very people that are actually going to be side by side with us, shoulder to shoulder with us, are out to get us. It's just counterproductive. That's my whole point. You know, don't always believe what you see on Alex Jones especially, because it's just starting to snowball into more and more fear and jumping to conclusions. A little history lesson. Queen Elizabeth was forced to behead one of her own sons. And she had some illegitimate sons. They loved her dearly. They were in a position to help protect her against her advisors, who were advising her terribly for their own agendas. And she made a huge mistake of simply not even having an audience with them to talk to them and ask them what they felt about a certain situation. She believed the people whispering in her ear, saying that they were there to overthrow her, when they were actually there trying to protect her. And she ended up beheading one of them because of propaganda and a psyop. So, if you don't recognize that's happened before in history, then please do. Now, is there something going to happen? And I don't know if I've mentioned this before in other videos, but I believe that something is going to happen this summer. And I believe all the training that's going on and the compartmentalization that goes with that, people are training for something and they don't even know what they're training for right We've heard rumors. We've heard rumors of nuclear devices. We've got the talks in Iran going on. It's like a bait and switch type thing where they're like, okay, well, we're going to have these peace talks with Iran. It's giving a pretext for them having a nuclear device and blaming them for a false flag attack on American cities. I can see it unfolding right now. It's no big mystery. But what's going on with this training? Some of it's reactionary. I think the Special Forces is reactionary, that they know it's coming and they're preparing for it, and they're trying to get their guys in a safe position with like-minded people, with patriots. That's what I think's going on there. And for them to say, you're ruining our PSYOP, it's because the PSYOP was not on the American people. The PSYOP was on the Pentagon, the staffers, the ones who were in cahoots with the bad guys. And now everything's blown out of proportion and they're in the spotlight, which they don't like to be in the spotlight. They like to keep things quiet because their very lives could be in danger. And unwittingly, well-meaning people who should be concerned about things like martial law have thrown a monkey wrench into that. And you just don't know how much damage you've done. Now, Department of Justice, FEMA, all these different groups are preparing people for things like dirty bombs, for contaminated victims, you know, and so all of this training that you see going on ties into that. So mark my words when I say this, there is going to be another false flag attack. They have to do that. Because for martial law to work, we have to allow it. Everyone's crying about martial law. They got this chicken little syndrome. The sky's falling, the sky's falling. Well, are you going to just sit there and duct tape yourself to a chair and allow them to come get you? Are you going to curl up in the fetal position? Are you going to allow them to cart you away? Because as far as I'm concerned, and I know there's many people out there like me, we're not just going to stand idly by and allow it to happen. Now, we're not going to go looking for trouble. But if trouble comes our way, we have the means necessary to defend ourselves, and we're smart enough and experienced enough and confident enough that even if we were to lose our lives, it would be worth it because we'd be protecting other people. Not only that, but we would make it too damn costly for them. And we don't even really have a whole lot of stuff. We just have what we have, and that's it. We don't have anything high-tech. We don't have any drones. We don't have any Hellfire missiles or any of that crap. We have small arms, just like every American citizen has small arms. So you mean to tell me that you're in a country that's got millions of people with small arms, you're just going to roll over and let them do it to you? I don't see that happening. I really don't. And I think the military knows that. I think the police know it. But I think the PSYOP is to confuse all of us and get us not thinking about that. Not thinking about true unity that we create from the bottom up. They're trying to create a chaotic situation to distract us into a different kind of unity that serves their agenda. Or division that serves their agenda. Because either way, that's what they want. They either want chaos to create a national unity, or they want chaos to create division so that all the people that should be helping each other are fighting each other. That's the PSYOP. That's why Alex Jones and channels like his are dangerous, is because they don't go down that road to looking at it and really explaining it. And they pay it lip service every once in a while. But they don't really get to the heart of the issue. They keep playing into the PSYOP of citizen against soldiers, citizen against police, and vice versa. So, pay attention. This summer, there's a lot of stuff going on, but don't get so caught up in the minutia, and don't get so caught up in trying to make the connections that aren't there that you miss the ones that are there. And I'm telling you, they are going to attempt, if not pull off a false flag this summer. They need to. That is the only way that they can con us all into accepting the idea of martial law. Whether it's on the end of the troops that are being trained for it, and it has to be something big. They have to outdo themselves. 9/11 is not going to be good enough. It's got to be a threat that encompasses so many different facets that it's not just military, and it's not just civilian casualties, but that it involves the environment and everything. They have to do something that will outdo 9/11. So that is what all this stuff points to. And if you haven't figured that out, it's time to have a huge wake-up call. Now, what can you do about it? Prepare. If you aren't preparing now, you might be too late. But at the same time, granted, even though it's late in the game, there's still a good chance that you can prepare enough to set yourself up, or to at least have enough means to support yourself with this domino effect that's going to happen, the societal collapse and everything else that's going to happen because of it, or to prevent it, to buffer yourself, to prevent it, to meet with other people, because strength is in numbers, to work through it instead of fall for it. And so yeah, prepare. Get food, water. And if you think that you're going to be in an area that's possibly going to be affected by contamination of some sort, NBC, shelter. Find yourself a group. Get ready for it. Because that's about all you can do is prepare for it. People advocating, well, we got to do something about it. That means we got to go up, run up to Washington, D.C. and take it by force. It's the wrong answer. That's the answer they're looking for. They want a reason to clamp down. They want a reason to impose gun control. They want a reason to go door to door and attack people. Don't give them that ammunition. The best thing that anyone can do right now is prepare. Train. Prepare. Be proficient with your firearm. Have the proper equipment. It doesn't cost as much as you think. In the big picture, it does. You look back and you're like, wow, I spent that much money on that. But if you do it little by little by little, before you know it, you're prepared well enough that now you need to focus on insulating yourself from a larger population, maybe moving out into the country, and doing things for the long term, training with your marksmanship and everything. But the main thing is to prepare and just stay calm. Don't let them pull your emotions, because that's all that they're doing. Stop watching channels like Alex Jones. Just stop it. Because all it's doing is building up your tension level. It's not making you think any better. It may touch on subjects that are valid, but they ruin it all when they hype it up into fear porn. So just be very careful of what you digest mentally, because it will have a huge effect on how you conduct yourself later. And it could contribute to you making fatal mistakes later. So, having said that, that's about all I can add to this Jade helm thing right now. But just grow a set of balls and learn some intelligence. That's all I gotta say. Seriously. But good luck to everybody. If I've got any more information that's forthcoming, I'll come out with it. If not, then I won't say anything. And usually I don't say anything unless I feel like I need to say something, But I'm just kind of tired of the hype and the fear porn, because at the end of the day, it boils down to you. Are you going to have the will to not only say, I'm going to make it through this, but I'm not going to let anybody walk over me? And enough people do that in a calm manner, what are they going to do, honestly? I think you give these guys too much credit, way too much credit, and you assume that they have too much control. They want that control, but they don't really have it. The more they try to prove it, the less that they actually have. So, anyway, just take it with a grain of salt, I guess. And until next time, be safe. Be aware of what's going on around you, but don't ever fear.